everybody, and welcome to our Sunshine channel. Today I am delighted to have Emma here today from Heal Kinesiology. And Emma, when did we meet? Emma Hassan, by the way. We met about, was it about 6-7 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was at least 6 years ago. Yeah, I done my Reiki 1 with you down in Limavady, I think it was.
That's right. Gosh, time flies, doesn't it? And yeah, there's been lots of changes in your life and my life since then, and we're going to touch on some of those changes through this interview today. So for those of you who don't know, Emma is a biokinesiologist. She has been a mental health social worker for the last 15 years. This is what I love about following you on Facebook, is that you are a world traveler. You love to travel the world, and I think you said you've been to 47 countries so far, which is amazing. Emma is passionate about healing and healing in all areas of our lives: the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, which is really what this channel is all about. And Emma is the proud owner of Heal Kinesiology, which was inspired by her own healing journey through mental health and cancer. And certainly everybody that I know that works in this field of work have all been through a massive journey themselves, and it's through that journey then that we want to, when we heal, we want to help and heal other people. And of course it's ongoing, it's not the healing. So could you tell our lovely listeners a little bit about yourself, Emma, and the journey that has kind of brought you to this place where you're at now?
I suppose I struggled with physical and mental ill health throughout sort of most of my life. So I had terrible digestive issues for years and years and years. Had been to the GP for years, went through every consultant in the hospital, and they just diagnosed me with IBS and weren't really able to give me anything. So I was still suffering continuously. And that started my journey to healing, trying to figure out, well, I know it's something within my body that's causing this. And through sort of an elimination diet, which I done myself, I realized that I was intolerant to dairy. So all dairy products, all the lovely stuff like chocolate and cream and all that was causing me to be very ill. And at that time, I'm Irish, so I'm drinking cups of tea with loads of milk every day and constantly feeling unwell. So it was a daily thing. And that started my journey into health. And then I suppose throughout my teens and 20s, I would have experienced sort of mental health issues where I had anxiety. I would have experienced quite a bit of anxiety. I had a very low tolerance to stress, so I would get stressed very easily. And I was very, I suppose what I know now is I wasn't able to detoxify alcohol very well. So being young, traveling the world and having a crack and loving socializing, I would have had a drink every weekend. And enjoyed it at the time, but suffered then for 3 days afterwards. You know, the low mood, the feeling exhausted, but I didn't realize it was alcohol for so long. I thought this was a depression that I just had every week. So all those things really got me into research and health and finding out about the causes. And then I had the biggest gift I've ever been given. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2009, and I'm still in my 20s, so it was a massive shock.
Huge.
Massive.
Huge.
And it completely broke me to the core, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, every way. It completely just tore me apart and broke me right down to in every area of my life. And I think that was a massive catalyst for, I was kind of only dabbling a bit with health and well-being and happiness and sort of, you know, doing wee bits here and there. But I knew the moment I got diagnosed with cancer, I just instinctively deep down knew this was a gift. This was going to be my catalyst to really healing, to healing my life in all ways and to changing my life. Because, do you know, in your 20s, you think you have your whole life ahead of you and, you know, you're sort of you don't take anything too serious. But I knew I wasn't happy. So the cancer, albeit I had 2 years of treatment, which was very very difficult on the body, very difficult on the mind. But it was a catalyst to knowing that it was something I needed to know. I could control my health. I needed to know that I could make myself better. I could prevent any ill health in the future, because I knew this definitely wasn't going to kill me. I wasn't going to let it kill me. I wanted to make it like, I wanted it to it was like a second chance in life, really, and I wanted to make the rest of my life the best of my life. So knowing that, I looked a lot into all aspects of health. So health isn't just your physical body.
No.
Health is, your emotional health, your mindset, your beliefs. It's also your spiritual health, and sort of going within yourself and that inner engineering the inside, your mind, your thoughts, as well as outside, your desires, your health, and all that. So that took me down a road, many roads. I've tried almost every type of alternative therapy. I've looked at health from many, many different angles. And I think kinesiology was the very first thing that really started giving me answers to my physical health, and also eventually my emotional and mental health. So digestion, my issues that I experienced for most of my life, like anytime I went out for dinner, I ended up in the toilets being sick all the time. So it wasn't pleasant. But that realization that
so many people are living with that. So many people are living with digestive problems. And I know certainly I had the whole IBS thing a number of years ago as well, so I can totally relate and empathize. It's horrible. It's really, really horrible. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to live that way. You can heal.
Absolutely. And I think what I find in my clinic is that the majority of people do have digestive issues, but so many are unaware. If I ask, do you bloat? Most people don't know that they're bloating all the time. They think that's a normal reaction to eating, because they're so used to it. So I know for myself,
you become nearly conditioned or nearly numb to it. This is the way, nearly becomes normal, doesn't it? It's normalized.
I find so many people think that when they eat, they should feel really, really full and really, really bloated and quite tired, and that's normal. And I'm like, that's not normal. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable after you eat. You shouldn't be feeling, that you're not going to the toilet for 3 days, or that you're going 5 times a day. And, so it's that awareness.
But even just when I hear you talking there, like last week I interviewed Joanne Callum. I think I was telling you about it before we started. And that interview was all about our relationship to food. What I'm now thinking, listening to you talk about digestive problems, is, can you imagine the anxiety that causes and the stress that causes when you don't know, when you eat something, whether or not you're going to be in the loo for the next hour, or you're going to experience intense bloating, or you're going to feel sick. And Joanne was talking about the mindset, the thoughts that we think when we eat. And this is really, for me, this all interconnects, doesn't it? It all fits in, because that in itself could create so much stress within the body. The anxiety side of it, the not knowing how your body's going to react.
That's it. And then there is the vagus nerve that connects the gut to the brain, and how that's massive. Like your gut, if you think of gut feelings, and like 95% of your serotonin is made in your gut. So that's your happy hormone. If your gut's not optimal, it's not efficient, you're not going to feel very good. You're going to get anxious. And I noticed with me, I never knew what came first. Was it the anxiety or the digestive issues? Because when I ate something that my gut didn't like, I got this awful anxiety. So it was this cycle that was going on and on. And when I realized that actually, so I am dairy intolerant because I don't produce the enzyme lactase to digest dairy. And there is, because of people's body chemistry, there is maybe 30% of the population that will not be able to digest dairy.
Okay.
But there's other things.
Quite high. That's 30% is quite high, isn't it?
It is, and I suppose the way milk's produced now and the way cattle is reared and the way the grass is treated with lots of pesticides and all that contributes to that as well. And some people's system just isn't able to digest it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can. They have the ability to, but they don't have the enzyme because we have many enzymes in our guts and they all digest different types of foods. And if those enzymes aren't enough, then people will have lots of intolerances. So we're finding now that one of the biggest things that is linked to enzymes and gut health is zinc. Zinc comes from the soil. So you think of the way soil's treated now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not good quality, and we're putting lots of, farmers are putting lots of plants in and they're genetically modifying them and they're making them grow really fast, and the soil's just completely deficient of nutrients. So we're not getting enough. Yes. So it's not, you can eat an amazing diet with plant-based diet with lots of fruit and vegetables, you will get most of your nutrition, but there's going to be some mineral deficiencies because the soil just doesn't have it. Yes. You know, so all that contributes to your gut health. Your gut health contributes to your immune system. 70% of your immune system's in your gut. As I said, the serotonin's made in your gut. So gut health is massive. And if you're not absorbing the nutrients, they're not going to the rest of your body to do all the different chemical reactions that your body needs to make your heart beat, your hair grow. No. So it's so vital. It's so vital. Like, gut health is massive.
Yeah, it is. It's I'm so pleased that, well, I suppose you can't not talk about kinesiology and not talk about gut health because they're so interlinked. Mm-hmm. My first experience of gut health was when I was diagnosed with glandular fever, and I was so ill, and as a get up and go lively person, I was literally crawling to the bathroom. I had zero energy, and when all the physical symptoms of the illness disappeared, I was left with chronic fatigue. So just really tired. And this was my first experience of kinesiology. So I just thought I need to do something, a bit like yourself and your journey, although not as extreme, thankfully, as the cancer. But I thought I really need to start looking at what I'm putting into my body, how I'm treating myself, and the stress, because I was in a really stressful job at the time. And the kinesiology just blew my mind. It just was like, oh my goodness, this all makes sense. So literally, I had leaky gut, which would have obviously explained the whole IBS situation. And my body, like you say, it wasn't able to store nutrients. So even though I was eating, you know, fruit and veg, I wasn't getting the benefit of it because my gut was leaking. Yeah. So I went on a very strict diet. Not forever. It was just until my gut health basically improved, until I healed from the inside out, and then I was able to introduce certain foods. So, and it literally got me well. I couldn't believe how quickly I got better. So can you explain a little bit about, for anybody that's watching that has never heard about kinesiology, that perhaps is living with some sort of chronic pain or autoimmune disease, how can kinesiology help, and what is it?
Okay, I suppose kinesiology in its simplest form is muscle testing. So we test muscles. I basically use maybe a few muscles in the arm and leg just to test the body's response. So we're tapping into the subconscious, into the electric magnetic field. So what I do as a biokinesiologist, I study a lot of biochemistry. So I work a lot with the body chemistry. So a typical session, someone will come in because there's the same kind of cause for all illness. So it's kind of in its most simplest form. Mm-hmm. What we do is we get the bad things out and put the good things in. So what I'll check for in a first session, I look at the meridian energy lines in the body to see which ones are out of balance. That gives me a lot of clues as to what's going on in the body. And generally people have some kind of toxins. So that can be heavy metal toxicity. It can be post-virus, bacteria, fungus, parasites, radiation, or chemical overload. So those are the main types of toxins we'll have in the body. And they're going to, like, your immune system is going to go into protection mode first. It's going to want to protect and keep the body safe. So if all your energy is going to fight infection or to fight heavy metal toxicity, not a lot of your energy is going to go to growth and repair and making everything work. So the big thing we want to do is get out any of those toxins. The other things that I will look at is look at your energy production, look at the liver function.
That's a big one, isn't it? The liver is a big one because
huge.
It's huge. I actually didn't realize that the functioning of the liver can affect the skin. And again, it was through getting adult acne myself and through my own healing of it, I realized, oh my goodness, this is actually coming from my liver. So I really need to detox and cleanse my liver.
Skin is, because it's the least needed organ in the body. So if your liver's overloaded with toxins, then it's going to use the skin to detoxify. So that's where lots of people's skin conditions, and a lot of skin conditions are to do with the gut and the liver, and there's normally always a toxin in there, like a bacteria or maybe heavy metal or something just contributing to that. So that's why it's so important to look at the body as a whole. If someone comes to me with a specific symptom, I don't particularly look at that because I want to get to the cause. Yes. If we just treat symptoms, then we're not getting to the cause, and that problem's just going to be diverted somewhere else in the body. Yeah. So we can look at things like, your adrenals are massive, and your thyroid, and I look at what toxins are contributing to those not working efficiently. And stress is huge. Stress, people are in fight or flight now 24/7. Your body is supposed to go into fight or flight when, you're walking out in the road and you're about to be hit by a car. You're supposed to, be able to run really fast. And when you're in fight or flight, you want 100% of your energy going to your muscles. You want to be able to run really fast. But if you're in fight or flight 24/7, your energy is in your muscles. It's not working your digestion. It's not working for your immune system. It's not making energy. It's not regulating your hormones. It's not keeping your skin well. So when you're stressed, you're going to be unwell. You're going to have lots of symptoms. And people really, the awareness, I just love people to know how negative stress is and how important it is for self-care. Because stress is the #1 killer. Like, if you have an underactive thyroid, you have a bad gut, the root cause a lot of the time is stress.
Yes.
So we can fix the gut and we can fix the thyroid, but if you're still putting yourself into a stressful job or stressful lifestyle, you're just going to get unwell again. So, it's huge. So kinesiology.
It's the holistic approach, really, isn't it? It's looking at every area. And I know certainly that clinic that I went to in Belfast, when I had the glandular fever, I changed a lot about my diet. I went on lots of different supplements as well because I was deficient in so many different things. It was a really long list. But also I was so stressed at the time. I was working 60, 70 hours a week. Wow. Yeah, crazy, like really stressed out. I was working in financial services at the time. So this is going back, talking 2007. So it's a long time ago. Yeah, and I just cultivated really bad habits, like eating at my desk whilst working, not taking proper breaks. Yeah, and just working too much and putting myself under pressure to perform was a big thing for me as well. So when I changed my diet, I also changed how I worked, and then I ended up getting made redundant, which was a huge blessing in disguise. I didn't suffer IBS. I haven't suffered IBS from 2007. And I think when you honour your feelings and emotions as well, because a lot of that, I always point to my tummy. Would you agree that we hold a lot of, this is the home, I think our tummy is the home to our feelings and our emotions?
That absolutely is, because I work a lot with emotional health as well. And there's a lot of people that come into me and your body tells me what it wants to work on first. It could be chemical, it could be structural, it could be emotional. A lot of people are holding trapped emotions in their body and in different meridian lines in the body, which is, you know, your energy body. So say someone has an emotion trapped in their liver, that's going to affect their liver, but it's also going to have create emotions of like rage and anger. There's lots of emotions are stored in the stomach. That's where all your anxiety and your worry and your stress is. So you're going to end up with stomach problems. So I work with the emotions as well, and I go through a process of releasing those emotions. I can kind of get to the root cause, when the emotion started, what the emotion actually is, what kind of things that's affecting in life, and what meridian it's in, so we can tap into that and remove that, so that we're going at the body from a physical, nutritional, chemical, emotional kind of holistic approach. Because again, you know, stress, it's going to affect all parts of our body. Health is going to affect it all. So I always say, throw everything at it, go at it from all angles, because the biggest thing, yes, is food. You are what you eat, but you're also what you absorb. So we need to be able to digest food and absorb it to get the nutrition. That's one thing that's so important. Stress is another thing that's so important. Emotional health is massive. Lots of people aren't tapped into what they're feeling because we're so good at ignoring it. We're great to go, oh,
distracting. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, trauma in your life does affect your cells in your body. It affects, you know, and your thoughts affect your body, because, you know, we all know about placebo effect. If you have good thoughts and good mindset, and you believe you can heal to start with, and you want better for yourself because you've worked on your self-love and your self-care, then it's inevitable that you're going to feel better, and you're going to be better, and you're going to have a better life. So that's why kinesiology for me is just amazing, because we look at all parts of the body. And what I found for me, which I just found fascinating, was so my digestive health and my mental health was all linked to 2 nutritional deficiencies. So I just got a condition that I'm not able to metabolize the sort of breakdown of hemoglobin very well. So what happens is I'm severely deficient in zinc and B6. And they are needed for the creation of neurotransmitters, for hormones, for digestion, for immunity, for so many pathways in the body. So my digestion wasn't working right most of my life. I wasn't absorbing the right nutrients. I was also deficient in B6, which that really helps mental health. It helps, you know, being able to tolerate stress. It helps depression, anxiety. So you can imagine I was low in those 2 most of my life. So of course I was experiencing mental health and digestive issues. And then obviously my immune system was compromised because I was in fight or flight all the time. So when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, it all made sense to me that, you know, the way I have lived my life and the different chemical deficiencies in my body have led to this. Well, that's great. Now I have answers. I know how to prevent anything, any ill health in the future. And see, to be empowered to know the root cause, to know how you can heal yourself, is just the greatest gift in the world. No amount of money or love or anything else can beat that, to know that you can control and you can heal yourself. And that's what I try to do, is empower people, give them the answers, give them as much information as I can. Sometimes it's too much for people, sometimes it's not enough. But I want to empower people. I want to give people answers so that they can heal themselves, so they know down the line in 5 years' time, oh, this has come up again, that's right, I need to do this or that or the other. So,
but we're not really taught this way of thinking. We're not really taught this. We're not really taught the information either. So it's what I have discovered on my journey to wellness is there's a certain element of personal responsibility that comes with it, and you kind of have to seek out the information yourself, really, don't you? Because it's not really available in the traditional health system. Whilst I love the NHS and it's amazing, fortunately it's there, you know, for treatment. But what we're really talking about is prevention, and also looking at the whole holistic side of things. You mentioned meridian lines. Now, for anybody watching that doesn't know, can you explain to our listeners what meridian lines are, so they have an idea of the picture?
I suppose it's used a lot in Chinese medicine, and that Eastern culture where they have identified sort of 14 main meridian lines in the body. So that's energy pathways in the body. And our body is made of energy. So if any of those pathways are blocked with an emotion or with a toxin, that's going to affect everything along that pathway. So, you know, meridian lines kind of, some of them start in the face, some of them start in the body, but they go the whole way through the body, you know, so it can affect anything along that pathway, but they're all interconnected to themselves. So they all impact each other. So it's like in a treatment, I will look at all the meridian lines and see which ones are out of balance. So generally say you have a small intestine, a liver, and a triple warmer meridian line all showing up. Well, then you know, okay, the gut's not working very well, the liver's a bit overburdened, and triple warmer's to do with adrenals and thyroids. You're thinking their energy's probably really low. There's something going on in there. So that's straight away, I know, right, this is the parts of the body that where the root cause is. Then we can go on deeper. But and acupuncture uses those meridian lines as well, because it's trying to balance that energy, you know, the chi. So that's the Eastern philosophy coming into kinesiology as well. And Eastern medicine is thousands of years old.
Totally.
It's completely proven to be successful. You know, what we need to remember is Western medicine is relatively new. You're talking 50 to 100 years. And the other thing about Western medicine is that it's now the NHS is amazing. It's so needed. It's completely essential for when you have real acute sort of trauma, or when you're very, very unwell. But when you go to your GP, we have to remember GPs are there to treat symptoms and to diagnose. They're not trained in nutrition. That's not their area of expertise. They're not trained on getting to the root cause. Their job is to, right, you've got a symptom. How am I going to help that symptom? We have to remember that symptoms, if we treat a symptom, we're not healing the root cause. So that's very important, I think, for people to be aware that if you want to get to the root cause and heal and prevent, then you have to take responsibility to do what, you know, help the root cause. Like if it's food, then you have to change your diet. If you go to a doctor and you take a pill, but you still continue the destructive behaviours of eating really unhealthy, being completely stressed, not moving your body, no exercise, not having enough water and hydration, a pill's not going to it's not going to cure it. It might stop it in the short term. But if you're still feeding your body all the wrong things, you know, emotionally, physically, you're not going to heal.
It'll come up to the surface again, won't it?
Of course, we all want the quick fix. We all want that pill that's going to take the pain away or the bloating away. But, you know, we have to be responsible too and realise, like, if you're still going to do the destructive behaviours that cause it, you're not going to heal long term.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Can we touch on supplements now, because there's so many different schools of thoughts on supplements. I didn't really take supplements until 2007. I think going back to childhood, we got like a multivitamin, myself and my sister, every day. And it was only really through my recovery from the glandular fever and chronic fatigue in 2007 that I started to take supplements, that I realised I would need to be eating a serious amount of fruit and vegetables in a day to get all the nutrients. So I need to supplement my body with extra nutrition. So can we touch on that, and also on because also I want to know your thoughts on some supplements, because some supplements are oral, so you can take like a liquid form, which I'm presuming goes into the bloodstream much quicker. But then a lot of the supplements have these bulking agents, which then causes, I believe, the body more stress, because you have to break down the bulking agents in your digestive system. And actually the nutritional value of the supplement isn't as much as it would be if it was in a more pure form.
Absolutely, yeah, you're spot on. You know, it's not as bioavailable. I think a lot of the big companies will have a big machine and they'll have quite large capsules, and those capsules are used for all the different vitamins that they produce. So if they put a little bit of something in, then they do use a lot of caking agents, bulking agents, a lot of actually talc in. A lot of things that...
Talc? Did you say talc?
Some have talc in, yeah, I've seen this. And those are the supplements that are big volume. They're made cheaply. They're sold for, you know, a reasonable sort of cheap enough. You know, if you go into Tesco's or Sainsbury's or something and their own brand, they're going to be not very bioavailable. They're not going to be a great quality. You're not even going to touch the surface of what you probably need. You know, for example, I need quite a lot of zinc daily at the moment, and any supplement I would buy in a supermarket or some of the high street branded health food shops wouldn't be enough for what my body needs. Like, I know people say you shouldn't be on supplements, you should be able to get them from your food.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of people do say that, yeah.
And they're absolutely right. Of course we should be able to get every vitamin and mineral we need in our food. But let's look at today's diet. Who's eating organic, free range? Who's eating enough fruit and vegetables? And who doesn't eat all the other processed foods and convenience foods, you know?
And the chemicals as well, you know, the chemicals that are now... And that's what Joanne was talking about. She was saying, you know, count the chemicals, not the calories, because now we eat so much processed food. So, but even if you are eating a plant-based diet, as you say, the soil structure has changed over the years. The pesticides, the herbicides, the whole farming culture has changed. So we're not getting the same nutrients that we would have got 50 years ago.
We're definitely not, and we're not eating, like, generally, like, I ask everybody about their diet when they come in, and they mention that they have a bit of vegetables with their dinner. I'll say, how's your diet? Oh, it's really good. So what are you eating? A lot of people are eating cereals and milk in the morning. So there's no nutritional value in that. A lot of people are having sandwiches for lunch, bread-based lunches, and there's not much nutrition in that. And then people will have a bit of meat, a bit of potato or rice and vegetable, and then I have 4 coffees and a couple of snacks. And it's not a bad diet, but you're not getting much nutrition. And we should be having maybe, they say about 13 to 15 portions of fruit and veg a day.
That's right.
Who gets that? Not many of us.
And also, like, it's the time as well. You know, like I have a lot of flexibility and freedom in my life, but I still would not have the time to prepare 13 portions of fruit and vegetables every single day. But yet I know that that's what we all need as human beings. The 5 is not enough. Sure,
it's not really, because now I study biochemistry. So when I look at, say, like, you look at hormones. So hormones are made of protein. The sex hormones, like your testosterone, your estrogen, your DHEA and all that, your cortisol, they're all made from cholesterol. So we do need some good cholesterol in the body. But if you look at all the chemical reactions, so you start off with, say, progesterone, that needs to be broken down into testosterone, into estrogen. So what do you think breaks those down? Nutrition. We need a lot of zinc. We need a lot of vitamin B3, niacin. We need some iron. We need things like B1 and B2 to be able to make enough testosterone and estrogen. You look at your energy pathway, to make ATP, which is the energy made in your cells every day. You need an awful lot of magnesium to break glucose down and to make energy. And then to get into the cell wall, to get into the mitochondria, you need things like zinc, like B6, B12, folate, B7, you need B5, so you need, and selenium. You need those nutrients and vitamins to make the chemical reactions in our body to give us energy, to make our hormones balance, to make your digestive enzymes so you can break down food and absorb it. So if people realize how much minerals and vitamins are needed for every pathway in the body, and if you're deficient in just one of those, like zinc or magnesium, which are the 2 biggest nutritional deficiencies, if you're low in those, that's going to affect not just your gut, not just your energy, but your immune system, your hormones, your thyroid, all your major organs and all the major things that your body needs to do. So it's not to be underestimated. So that's why sometimes we need a big boost of a certain mineral or vitamin for a therapeutic intervention to get the thing going again, you know.
So for anybody watching now that's feeling just slightly overwhelmed by all of the different nutrients that you spoke about there, what, if somebody wants to start off taking supplements, what would you, well, I'll tell you what I'm taking, and then you can tell me what I need to add to that. I'm already thinking I need to add magnesium and zinc just from listening to you. I take a whole food supplement of fruit and veg every day. So I take that, which is, there's no bulking agents or anything in it, so it's very easy to digest. And I also take the a multi-B vitamin, so all the Bs, and included in that is iron, and that's in liquid format. And I take that because I've been a vegetarian for a very long time, from 2005, and I was curious to know how much protein and how much iron I was getting in my diet every day. So I downloaded that My Fitness Pal, just to have an idea of, you know, how much nutrition I'm getting from food every day. And one thing that my protein was okay. I was actually quite surprised. I was like, gosh, I am getting enough protein. So the lentils, the chickpeas, the beans they definitely help. But I could not get my iron to what I needed it to be every single day. It was every day I was lacking hugely. Like I was only getting maybe 20-25% of what I should have been absorbing every day in iron. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness. So I started taking an iron supplement, which is all the Bs included. So what else should I be taking? Should I be taking?
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of vitamins and minerals out there, and you know, when someone comes in, say for a treatment with myself, I could find deficiencies in 10, 15 things, but I want to find what your body needs to prioritize now, because if you take one thing and you take a good amount of that could then, so say if you're low on lots of things, it could be your gut, you're not absorbing, so it could be an enzyme problem. So say if you're taking zinc and probably one of the B vitamins in high levels, that could be enough to fix the gut, and then you're absorbing everything, so you don't need all those extra things.
Very good, yes.
You know, so I want to make it affordable for people. I don't want to be going, right, you're low on 10 things, go out and buy them. Absolutely not. Magnesium is needed, absolutely, but a lot of people have enough magnesium, because if it's an absorption problem, we want to fix that first. That's why we always get to the root cause. B vitamins are brilliant. Like to take a B complex is really good whenever we're maintaining our health. But what I generally find is most people are deficient in one of those B vitamins, and you can look up deficiencies, you know, like your B6 deficiency is going to be a lot to do with when you're highly stressed. If you low dream recall and stuff like that. If you don't dream very often, you'll know you're probably low in B6. B3 is brilliant for things like anxiety. B2 is great for skin. So it depends what people are experiencing.
That's fascinating. So if you're dreaming, it means that your body is absorbing and it has enough of what B vitamin again?
B6 usually, yeah.
So, wow, that's fascinating, isn't it?
That's why I can test people. So that's why I ask everybody, do you dream? And people are like, it's a question nobody thinks about, but when I ask, they're like, oh no, because when I was asked, I was like, I don't think I've dreamed in years actually, but you know, you can have that odd sort of dream when you're waking up, but I realized until I started taking B6, I hadn't dreamt in years and years and years, you know. So generally people will need maybe 1 or 2 B vitamins short term just to get whatever it is going. You know, like if you're suffering really bad from anxiety or hormonal imbalance, that could be a B3 deficiency. So you want to target that, so because you want to feel better. You know, we want to be feeling good as well as being well. So
absolutely.
You know, everybody's different, but I find zinc's massive because it's so hard to get into your diet. So a lot of people are low on it. The B3 and B6, B12 would be ones that I would find a lot of people are deficient in, and if you look up the symptoms of deficiency, most people recognize they probably have quite a few of those. So And then there's a lot of things that we want to be detoxing those bad boys out of the body, because
well, of course, all the toxins that we take on a regular basis. You and I have talked about this before. We've talked about coffee. And anyone who knows me knows I love coffee. And funny, I only started drinking coffee when I had glandular fever, but wasn't diagnosed, and was feeling really tired because you mentioned adrenals. My adrenals were just like, and I was drinking a lot of coffee. I didn't even really like the taste of it then. And then, of course, when I was going through the whole detox, I went off tea, went off coffee, etc. And then a number of years later, it kind of made its way back into my diet. And I've had, I think the last time I did a real big detox of coffee was it was sunny, when it's sunny, and then after it's sunny. So I kind of go through a detox every couple of years of coffee. But I love coffee.
We love coffee.
I love it, and I'm sure so many people can relate to this. Like, I adore my coffee in the morning. Afternoons, I could kind of take it or leave it, but in the mornings, I just adore 1-2 cups of coffee.
Yeah, of course. And the reason we love coffee is because coffee is not a food, coffee's a drug. You know.
Yes, brilliant.
That's why we love it. It makes you feel great.
It does.
Food. And coffee's not a food, it's an experience. We drink coffee and we get a burst of energy, and you know, if you're not drinking it all the time, I would have the very odd coffee the very odd time, and I feel like I'm on drugs. I'm literally like, my body is jittering, but I feel really good, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm full of energy, I'm really hyper, this is great. Because I don't have it that often, but you know, it is a drug. It is the second, I think, most profitable thing after oil. So we know who's doing all the advertising and promotion of coffee, because it's very lucrative. And
highly addictive. It's highly
addictive. And
I think we sometimes forget that. I think we see when you said, like, well, coffee isn't a food, it's an experience, it's a drug. I was like, oh, you do forget, don't you? When you can buy it everywhere, you forget.
Absolutely. It's like cigarettes used to be years ago when they first came out, and we had doctors smoking cigarettes and going, this is really good for your health. And you know, cigarette smoking became an experience as well. But what coffee does, when you put coffee into your body, that does give you a real boost of energy, because it's releasing adrenaline into your body, but also cortisol. So it's nearly activating that fight or flight response in your body. So
how does it so it promotes cortisol within the body? Is that what you're saying? It stimulates cortisol.
Yeah, it stimulates your adrenals.
Right.
So that's where you're getting the energy boost from. And then, you know, like stress and anything, if you're constantly putting your adrenals under, you know, firing them up quite often, then you're going to be exhausting your adrenals. And what you'll find with coffee, if someone has one in the morning, they get a real energy boost. And then a couple hours later, like, oh my god, I'm exhausted, I need another coffee.
Yes, well, that's me. I wouldn't say I get exhausted, but I do have a craving around 10 o'clock, a definite craving for a coffee.
Yeah. And you know, the amount of people that myself and my colleagues test and say their hormones are out of balance, if you can cross-check that to coffee, and a lot of times coffee is what's affecting people's hormones. Or there's a lot of people, caffeine, just people's liver can't cope with that amount of caffeine, so their liver is under pressure. And you know, when your liver is under pressure, you're going to have lots of different things going wrong in the body. It also affects sleep. All these people with insomnia, and they're like, but coffee doesn't affect me. Coffee affects everybody. You know, there's not one person I've ever tested that has been able to tolerate coffee, you know, without it having a negative effect in the body. So it is affecting your liver. It's going to affect your digestion. It's going to affect your hormones, and sometimes thyroid. So there's a lot of, because we will cross-check sort of to try and find the root cause. There's something in your diet or toxin that's contributing to this symptom. Coffee is massive. It comes
Oh
up.
my goodness.
People
Emma,
will cut out coffee for a month and see a massive difference.
well, I did, because I now remember the last time I cut it out of my diet, and you and I spoke actually about this, and it was my skin, and I was going for acupuncture, and straight away he was like, it's your liver and you need to stop drinking coffee, like straight away. And I was like, I was traumatized. I was like, oh please no, I love coffee, anything else. Coffee.
I know.
I find it a difference. Like, I did notice a difference, but like so many of us, and even though I have so much awareness, I still find myself falling back into the cycle of, okay, well my skin's okay now and I've healed that, so now I can drink coffee. But
we're all the same.
Yes, we are all the same, aren't we? But now that you have armed me with that information, because whilst I was aware it did affect the liver in an unhealthy way and causes toxicity, I didn't actually realize that it promoted cortisol and adrenaline. I didn't know that it did that. I did not know that, but I genuinely didn't. So,
well, because it's, as I said, like cigarettes, was it just before I was born, so maybe like 50, 60 years ago, that was an experience that was publicized and, advertised as something really good for you. And coffee's just gone down the same way. Like we all went to the pub and drinking was, grand, and it didn't really affect your body unless you overdone it. We all know now that alcohol does affect your body and your liver. Coffee is the same. It's just a new experience that is socially acceptable and a big part of most people's lives. And that's the difficulty, because, I want to promote people being happy and having nice experiences. I don't want to spoil anyone.
Pleasure. Like, we want pleasure. We want to have pleasurable experiences, but yet we want pleasurable experiences, but we want to be healthy and live energetic, well balanced lives. So,
and that's the thing. If we're living in a society that, everything is about promoting profits, then, convenience foods, takeaways, all those foods that aren't good for you, things like coffee, they're a big part of everybody's lives. And, what I always say is try and eat sort of 90-10, so 90% of what's good in your body, but have that wee 10% and have whatever you want. If you want a coffee the odd time, have a coffee. If you want sort of a pizza the odd time, have it. But it's when you're eating foods every day or every other day that are going to be detrimental to your body, it is going to affect it negatively. Dairy is something I can't tolerate. That's not to say the very odd time, if I'm on holiday and I see ice cream, I'm like, I have to have this. I know I'm going to suffer, but I'm not having it every day and I'm not having it every week. So there is times that, I don't want to deprive people of everything, but the more we eat well, the more our body wants to eat well.
Yes.
And if we want to heal, we have to listen to what our body's telling us. Our body's always telling us. If you've got pains and aches,
and shouting.
Absolutely.
But
your body never lies.
No, definitely not. I'm a big advocate of that. But I think we go around so much of our lives up in here in our heads, and we're very disconnected with our bodies and how we're actually feeling. And it's about connecting those two things, isn't it?
Right. And that's why I always talk about the inner work as well as the outside work. You have to work on your, inside your head, because when you start tuning into you're going to start tuning into how you're feeling emotionally, how your body's feeling. Have I eaten enough? Have I eaten too much? A lot of time people have headaches. And what I always say is, if you have a headache, take 3 deep breaths, ask yourself, why have I a headache? Am I stressed? Am I dehydrated? Did I eat something with loads of additives in it? If you ask your body won't tell you. But we have to tune in, relax, slow down, be in tune with ourselves. And normally, your body will always tell you. But it takes practice with it, as with everything.
It really does. And Joanne Callan actually mentioned something quite similar to that, in that I love what you were saying about, taking a few deep breaths, checking in with your body and how your body feels, because I'm a big advocate of that. And I would call that the pause, just creating a bit of space in our lives, creating a pause that we can check in with how we're feeling. And Joanne was actually talking about how, you know, years ago, and I'm sure you were the same, Emma, we all ate our dinner at a table, we all sat around the table, there was no TV, there was no distractions, and you know, you kind of paused, you waited until everybody sat down at the table before you ate your meal, and you maybe even said grace or blessed your food. Or now, I suppose gratitude's a big thing, giving gratitude for what you're about to eat. But
Yeah.
it's that pause, isn't it? It's creating that pause in our lives, so we can check in with how we're feeling and how does our body feel and what's needed right now. I love that question. What is needed right now?
Absolutely. That's a brilliant question. And I think if we ask ourselves that in all areas of life, you know, when you ask the question, you will answer it.
Your body will, yeah, absolutely.
Always.
Oh my goodness, I could talk to you for hours. Do you know what's coming into my head as well about, you know, the molecules of water and about how our thought affects that, and
100%.
we could talk here for, oh my goodness, for so long. Maybe I'll get you back on again because this has been really interesting. I am now forced to look at my coffee addiction. I knew this would happen when I had this idea for bringing on all of these wonderful people onto this channel. I thought, wow, something really powerful is going to shift, is going to take place. And I guess that's within myself, because now I'm learning so much more. And, you know, yourself in this work, Emma, we hold ourselves accountable, don't we, to be authentic and to be real, and you know, walking the walk and talking the talk. So
that's it. And if you ever think you know it all, then you know nothing.
Oh, totally. Like last week, I thought, before Joanne and I chatted, and I know Joanne a long time, like yourself, probably longer, and I thought, oh no, I have a fairly good relationship with food. I'm, you know, very healthy, eat very healthy foods. Yes, I have treats, but I've been reflecting so much on my thoughts around food. And actually yesterday, we were at a soft play area, and one of my mummy friends had a packet of chocolates, and she offered me one, and I said, like, it was total, it was totally unconscious. What came out of my mouth was, no thank you, I'm trying to be good. And I thought, there, I just said it. And I caught it straight away, you know, with my other mummy friends. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've said that. I'm trying to be good. Because that was one of the things Joanne and I were talking about, how as women, we talk about being good and being bad, and how it's so caught up with our relationship with food. And I didn't realize that actually I unconsciously I do say that, and I was totally unaware. So so yes, we're always growing, we're always healing, we're always learning, we're always evolving. I have to ask you before we close about celery. Dun, dun, dun. Celery juice, because I've lots of friends who do it, and I did it for a while myself, and I also follow the medical medium who kind of launched this and made it, I suppose, popular. And thoughts on celery juicing, quickly, before we go.
So I do love the medical medium as well. He's you know, a bit controversial because he's actually very accurate in what he's saying. So there's a lot of micronutrients in celery, and as we're so deficient in minerals, more than vitamins nearly, and celery juice, as Anthony says, is fantastic for clearing out the liver and the gut. And if the two things you want to concentrate on is, number one is gut health, number two is liver health. So if you're cleaning that out,
your skin, which is obviously connected.
Yeah.
Your mood.
Skin, mood, everything. And you know, if you look at the medical medium, it's healing so many people.
Oh,
so
it's incredible.
Even if you can't do it every day, you know, take a month here and there, especially after Christmas, maybe before and after Christmas, because you're going to eat a lot of stuff that's not going to be brilliant for your body. But eat it mindfully, enjoy it. But do we detox the celery just after, I would say, for even a couple of weeks.
Fabulous. Okay, so I was going to say I'm really excited, but I don't know if I'm really excited because I might not be having my coffee tomorrow morning, but obviously that'll be a choice that I will make. If people want to get in touch with you, Emma, how can they get in touch? I'll obviously link your website. Do you have a website?
I don't have a website. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I have clinics in Derry City, in Dungiven and Limavady, so they're ran every week. So if you want to get in touch, my phone number is on Facebook and Instagram. So or text, email, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sure. You can give me the details at the end, and I can add them to the end of the interview. Thank you so much. I can't wait to watch this back, to be honest, because I have learned so much. I think the takeaways are the coffee for me is going to be a big thing. Definitely to cut that out and see how that feels. Also to add in some zinc and some magnesium, and perhaps even taking a wee trip to Limavady to see you and have a wee kinesiology, just to check in with how things are with me. So thank you so much, and thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next week for some more sunshine conversations. Bye.
Bye.